Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace and blessings to the whole elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Corner Walk through the Great Millstone Charlotte camp. Come with another quick lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And this evening, man, I just wanted to go into a lesson on how, this generation is gonna witness the greatest show on earth. You know, we're about to be witness to the greatest judgment. At the hands of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai that the earth has ever seen, man. Right. So, with all the wickedness we see taking place, right, and now we're seeing, those seeds of the persecution being laid. We're watching prophecy unfold before our eyes. We went into the AI a couple of days ago, right? That how its connection, right, to the coming downfall of this place, man. Right, we're watching all these things happen, right, and it's a blessing to be able to witness these things take place, man. So that's how we know, right? Those are the signs that we can see taking place. That the scriptures talk about this being even at the doors, man. Right, and it's a blessing to understand this and to know that this generation, right, the elect and then the wicked, right? We're all about to witness the greatest greatest show on earth, man. Then that's the judgment that the Lord is about to bring upon Babylon the Great, right, in the west of the rest of the earth, man. You know. So I'm gonna start here in Sirach 25:7. It reads, "There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy." Man, so this is a great, joyous time. You know, though we're gonna face, hard, you know, decisions, hard things, the persecution and things of that nature. Though we know these things are gonna take place, it's beautiful to know because that means we're that much closer to the kingdom, man. Right? So it's joyous, right? That's why the scriptures say, "Count it all joy." Actually, let me get that. Uh, joy. Select. Yep. James 1:2. It reads, "My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience." Right. So the point being that, right, all these diverse temptations, right, ultimately leading up to the mark of the beast, the hour of temptation, it's gonna come upon the whole earth to try, everyone, man. Right? We count these things joyous because we know that it's all connected to the downfall of Babylon the Great, right? This is all connected to the greatest deliverance that the earth has ever seen, the greatest destruction that the earth has ever seen, you know, the most magnificent miracles that the earth has ever seen, right? These are all things tied to the downfall of Babylon the Great, man, right? But it's also connected to us going through these trials and tribulations, the persecutions, as brothers like to say, you got to go through it to get to it, man, right? So we know that we have to face these things down, but we take it joyously, right? Because we're about to be witness to all this, man. Right now, let me get this here in Jeremiah. It's like it. This is Jeremiah 16:14. "Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more." It's like that it shall no more be said, "The Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt." Right. So this is gonna, dwarf, the deliverance from Egypt, man. Right. This coming judgment is gonna dwarf the judgment of the flood. Right. That's why it's gonna require an even stronger cleansing agent because the earth has been, polluted so much more, man. Scriptures talk about being, wickedness exceedingly. You know, so how much more, cleansing agent is fire than water? Because all this has to be burned up. That's why it speaks on this place becoming a desert. Because there's no remembrance, right? that this place deserves, man. Right? Outside of this here, verse 15. But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. And for him to do that, it's going to require, immense, miracles, right? Great judgment, you know, it's, great death, all these things, right? The deliverance from various, events, for the elect. This is all the story that the Lord is writing, for His chosen, and we're about to watch it take place. Lord willing, we be of that elect number. You know, um, let's go here to Revelation 18, and we'll jump down. We'll start down. We'll start at 9, right? Because this whole chapter speaks on the fall of Babylon. You know, and as we're watching, as you got the migrant was it protests going on out there in LA, which is it has the potential to lead to even more civil unrest, right? You have potential more civil unrest across the country, right? You've got geopolitical unrest, amongst these nations. So World War III is still, is definitely, on the table, right? All these things are taking place, and we're just watching, right? As a watchman should, and reporting these things to the masses, giving you that warning, that the elect may take heed, right, and seek after Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in these last days, man, right? Actually, before I get this, uh, let's go here. This is Luke 21 and verse 36. It reads, "Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man." Now, when you read this in the NLT, it reads, "Keep alert at all times." So we're watching these things, right, intentively, you know, because we know they all pertain to prophecy, right? From the unrest, from the AI technology, updates and breaking news, right? From the things going on the global scale, right? We're watching the uh, what's it called? The different food crises and things of that nature coming to pass in America, right? Brothers is tapped in all facets, right, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right, to keep each other alert, right, to keep informing the elect, of these things that are coming to pass at the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It reads, "And pray that you might be strong enough to escape these coming horrors," right? So it's going to be horrible times out here, man, right? Evils and only evils, right? And we're going to be watching these evils take place, right? We're going to be getting delivered out of these evils, right? As you read, how, the elect are going to be saved out of Jacob's trouble, right? We're going to be in the midst of all these things happening, but we're going to be able to hope for the wide, right? And have a hope of salvation, right? It reads, "And stand before the Son of Man," right? So we pray that we, have the endurance, through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to make it through, right? These coming perils, man. And we're watching these things take place, right? It's like it's the Lord's movie, This is the most magnificent spectacle, right, of power that we're about to see take place, you know, because just as the Lord set up Pharaoh, he set up Esau even higher and giving him even more power and more access to the left hand, so that his downfall is that much greater, you know. Now this is this is Revelation 18, and we're starting verse 9. It reads, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, and they shall see the smoke of her burning." Right. So we're watching the seeds of that burning being laid, man. Right. Ultimately that goes into the nuclear missiles, bombarding this place, you know. But we're watching, the society as a whole start to fall apart, right? We're watching the so-called American way crumble, right? We're watching the constructs and constructs that they set up, right? Begin to dissolve, man. right? So the world is watching America, as it's burning, man, right? It reads, um, verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, right? So the elect are going to be seeing these things, man, right? We're going to be witness to this great destruction, and it's going to be a joyous moment, man. We're going to be giving all the praise, glory and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you know, because we'll finally be freed of this captivity, right? Those shackles, will be removed, man. The scriptures talk about he shall burst their bonds, right? When you burst something, it's a violent action, right? So it's going to be with great violence, that this place gets taken down, man. It reads, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise any more. The merchandise of silver and gold, it's like the merchandise of gold and silver, and precious stones and pearls, and fine linen, and purple and silk, and scarlet, and all fine wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of the most precious wood, and of brass and iron and marble, and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and the souls of men. Right. So the global commerce is coming to a screeching halt. Right. All these things that people put their faith in, their hope in, right, is going to fail them in these times because nobody's going to be looking to make these purchases anymore, man. Because like I said, nobody buys their merchandise anymore, and we're already seeing that, on a small level, so how much more as we, continue on in these coming weeks, coming months, right? Um, and the fruits that they lusted over, it's like, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all, right? So the way this world is set up, right, is about to be completely dissolved, like the scriptures talk about, man. These things are going to be, these customs, right? The way people, what's the word, covet after things, right? It's all going to be wiped away, like I said, in 1 hour, through that nuclear fire, right? And again, just going back to the title of the lesson, man, we're about to be, witnesses to this, man. We're about to watch these things take place, right? Brothers is going to have spiritual power. The Lord is going to be, bringing forth great miracles, right? Great, signs of deliverance. Ultimately, culminating in the chariots, giving brothers those new bodies, man, right? You believers as well, right? Us going up into those chariots is a part of this movie, man. Um, Continuing on, it reads, For in 1 hour, for in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster, and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? Right? So this is going to be a global affair, a global spectacle, right? We're going to see, this will, what's it, the revolution will be televised, man, right? The destruction will be televised. This is everybody. Babylon the Great is going to be made an example, you know, of wickedness in the earth, man. Right? Of what happens when you perpetrate wickedness in the earth, rather. Right? Uh, Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Um, Continuing on, this is Revelation 18 and 19, and it reads, "And they cast dust on their heads and cried and weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city uh, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate." So it's going to be a quick, you uh, quick destruction, a quick transition of power, you know, because all these nations are gonna know who the power was that did this, right? Because like I said earlier, just as he hardened Pharaoh's heart back in Egypt and gave him that power, to show forth his own power, the Lord is setting forth, and hardening the heart of Esau Edom, right, that he may bring forth an even greater judgment, man, right? Because we live in an even more wicked world, right? Let me get this here in my sword. This is Genesis 6 and 5, and it reads, "And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." Right? So this is the same state that we're in right now, just on a greater scale, right? This wickedness has been magnified, right, at the hands of Esau Edom. That's why he's going to receive such a great judgment, man. Right? Now, when you jump down, uh, actually, we'll read through Genesis 6 and 5, 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. And it repented me that I have made them. Now Noah, right? He was that the elect, him, his sons and their wives, right? Those 8 souls that were saved, right? They were witness to this, man. Right? They got to watch this happen. You know. So now the elect of this time, right? The elect spirits are gonna witness the destruction, right? The flood of fire, right? That comes upon Babylon the Great. You know. Um, Jumping down to verse 13, it reads, "And the Most High said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth." Right? So this is where we're seeing is the Lord preparing that great destruction. Why? Because of the wickedness that has actually, let's get that, is exceedingly polluted, man. Right? This is Second Ezra 15 and 16, and actually, I'll start at one and read down. So Second Ezra 15 and verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, right? Because we have joy in the destruction of this place. Whether or not these people believe it or not is of no consequence to us, right? We don't care if they if they believe, we just care that the elect believe, right? It reads, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." That's part of the show that the Lord is about, put forth, man. Right? The great destruction, the plagues, the death, right? That he's about to show in the earth. Verse 6, the point. "For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." Right? So Esau has been allowed to reach heights, that were unimaginable for any other nation, man. Of wickedness, rather, right? They've reached heights of wickedness that no man had ever seen before. So it's only right that we see righteousness, bring forth a judgment that no man has ever seen before. And as we go back to this Revelation 18, the elect are going to be rejoicing in the destruction of this place, man. The destruction of all wickedness and the establishment of a righteous kingdom, right? So going back, this is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 19. It reads, And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour she made desolate. Rejoice over her, right? Rejoice over her. We're in the spirit of rejoicing over the destruction of this place. We love to see all the terrible things that are happening out here, man. Right? Because it's the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You know, the chaos that's about to ensue. Right? The well, pretty much, yeah, the chaos, man, the sedition. Right? The plagues, the pestilences, the death. Right? All these things we rejoice at. You know, because it's one step closer to the kingdom, man. Right? So like it reads, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged her on you, man. Right? Now, look, when you read this in the NLT, it reads, rejoice over her fate. We're rejoicing over the fate of Babylon the Great, man. Right? Um, oh, heaven and people of God, right? The elect and apostles and prophets, right? So going into the 144,000. For at last Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has judged her for your sakes. Right? So this judgment that's taking place is for our sakes, man. So we should be, excited about what we see taking place, man. It can be scary to the flesh, of course, right? But we can always connect these things back to prophecy and back to the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? And his his vengeance upon this place, man. Right? Going to verse 21. It's a lot. And the mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence, right, shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all, right? So another thing we rejoice in, man, right? This this place being thrown down with violence and being no more found, man. It reads, and the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. Right. So as we watch this place, right, start to implode, right, start to dissolve away, before our eyes, we continually are in a joyous state of mind, man. Right. We're continually giving praises to the Lord, right, for making these things come to pass. It reads, uh, where was I? So like and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, right? Because scriptures talk about the candle of the wicked being put out, right? That light, right? Uh, um, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by sorceries were all nations deceived, right? So the whole earth was deceived, right, by this devil, man, right? He came up for that little season, right, and deceived the whole earth, and now he's about to receive his judgment for it, man, right? And look, all these things we see taking place, right? We're rejoicing in, right? Day in and day out, man. Um, verse 24. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. Right. So the Lord's chosen. Right. We're just like it. The Lord's chosen. Some have to lay their lives down, man. Right. Some will be martyrs for the faith. Right. But as well as the blood that was shed in the conquest, right, that Esau Edom, has set forth upon, you know, you Israelites out there, man. You blacks, Latins, Native Americans, West Indians, Hispanics, man, right? That blood that was shed to establish, right, these wicked foundations, right? The Lord is coming to recompense. Now, look at these first few verses here in chapter 19, because this is the same mindset that, you know, that we're looking forward to having, right? This is a time that we pray to be able to see, right? This is a Revelation 19 and 1. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven, right, the elect, saying, Alleluia, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? So we're giving praise to the Lord, right? After all this takes place, man, and even in the midst of it taking place, we're giving praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? Because he's showing his power in the earth. It reads, "For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged a great whore." Right? He's judged a great whore. We're watching the downfall of our enemies before our eyes, man. Right? Not only Esau, Edom, but the rest of these heathen. Right? It says, "For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged a great whore, which did corrupt the earth." Right? Which we read with that pollution. Um, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. Man, the Lord is about to avenge us, man. Right? And everything, bad news for them is good news for us, man. Right? So we know that's the vengeance of the Lord, right, taking place in the earth. And as things get worse and worse, as the persecution and all these things start to intensify, the spirit of the Lord's vengeance is going to continue to intensify, man. Right? And we're about to see the Lord, vindicate His chosen, right? And Lord willing, we be of that number. It says, verse 3, and again they said, Alleluia, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. But that's the point, man, right? So like I got, I have it pulled up. I don't think I got it pulled up, but the point being, man, this generation is about to witness the greatest show on earth, man. Right? The greatest judgment ever taking place, the greatest salvation to ever take place, right? Is about to be, witnessed by the elect and those and the wicked, man. Right? And we pray to be a part of that elect number, and to see these things again going back. We'll close with that. Uh, Sirach 25. Yep. So Sirach 25:7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath the joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy, man. So we're about to see the fall of our enemies, man. Right? We're witnessing the fall right now, and then we're gonna see that climax of the story, soon come. Right? So Lord willing, that was an edifying lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. I'm going to close by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who grew well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Hey, Kwame Yasharala and Abad with all, man. Shalom.